I'm just going to turn my camera off as well. Okay, so hello and welcome to everyone that's attending the Understanding Soil webinar. In this presentation, we're going to cover many topics, including what is soil, why it's important, the different layers of soil, the ideal soil for growing, and how to improve your soil conditions, as well as life within the soil and what you can grow from February. So for those of you that don't know, Sackwell is a visitor attraction found just up the A47 in Thornhome, Peterborough. We're a working farm that is home to many rare breed animals, as well as an 18th century watermill. Sackwell is part of the William Scott Abbott Trust, which is a charity that was founded in 1964 by Mary Abbott in honour of her late husband, William Abbott. The aims of the trust is to connect people of all ages and backgrounds to the science, heritage and practical art of agriculture. So educating the next generation is the heart of what we do here. We have a dedicated education team that are passionate about delivering and enriching outdoor education to pupils. Currently a team of 6, and I'm sat with the lovely Tina as well. Every year we welcome over 75 schools to Sackwell and hope to grow this exponentially this year as we've launched our brand new Farming with Nature workshops, but there's more on that later. Now on to the main reason that we're here, soil. So what is soil? Soil makes up the top layer of the Earth's surface. It's a mixture of tiny particles of rock, decomposed plants and animals, air and water. It stores water and it helps plants to grow. It also absorbs and releases gases. Soil is important to our ecosystem. It's not just dirt. So why is soil important? Soil is vital for our everyday lives and it's fundamental to all of our survivals. It provides a growing medium for plants and trees. It provides 95% of the food we eat comes from soil. And so it provides plenty of food for humans. Soil provides a major role in our ecosystem. It helps to regulate the Earth's climate and stores more carbon than all the world's forests combined. It could take up to 1,000 years to form just 1 centimetre of soil, so we all need to look after and educate the next generation the importance of soil. And on to our soil layers. So soil is made up of 5 layers. At the top we have an organic layer, the upper layer of the topsoil. This is mainly materials such as dried and decomposing leaves, grass, small rocks, twigs, surface organisms, fallen trees and other decomposing matter. Underneath the organic matter, you'll find topsoil. This layer is rich in organic material and consists of both organic matter and other decomposed materials. Topsoil is soft and porous to hold enough air and water. In this layer is where the seed germination takes place and new roots are formed. This layer consists of microorganisms such as earthworms, fungi and bacteria. Beneath topsoil, you'll find subsoil. Subsoil is harder and more compact than topsoil. It contains soluble minerals and organic matter, and this layer holds more water than topsoil and has a presence of clay. Then below this, we have the parent material. This is free from organic matter and is made up of broken bedrock. And then finally, right at the bottom, we have bedrock. This is compacted, cemented layer. And here you'll find all different types of rocks, including granite, basalt, and limestone. Soil types. So now we're going to discuss the different types of soil. Different soils have different properties depending on their composition. So sandy soils are pale in coloured and have large particles. These create lots of small air gaps, and water drains through sandy soils really easily, so it usually feels very dry. Clay soil is usually sticky and has small particles. It contains very few air gaps and water does not drain through it very easily. Chalky soil is a light brown and water drains through it quickly. And then there's also peat, which has now been banned in retail compost bags from 2024. Peat does not contain any rock particles. It's made up of old decaying plants, and it's dark and crumbly and rich in nutrients. Soil can be found in different colours and textures, but wherever you are in the world, it does the same thing. So how to improve your soil? So once you've identified your soil type, you can work out how to improve it. So sandy soils require more organic matter to build the soil structure. This improves its ability to hold water. Compost and manure are the preferred option for improving sandy soils, as they are rich in nutrients and drip feed into the plants. Over time, this will also help to increase the pH of the acidic sandy soils. To improve clay soil, you need to add lime, and this is not lime from the supermarket. This is garden lime. This is ground limestone, which is commonly called garden lime. The lime raises the pH of the acid clay soil, making them more alkaline and encouraging clay particles to stick together in small clumps. This results in larger particles and makes the soil more friable and easier to work with. Improving chalky soil can be done by tilling in lots of organic material like composted pine needles, leaf mold, manure, and/or compost. You can also replant a cover crop of beans, clover, lupins to correct the chalky soil. We call this now green manure. The best soil is soil that is full of organic matter and living creatures, as it helps to absorb and store rainwater, protecting us from floods and droughts, especially if we're going to have hot summers. So making your own compost. So if you're looking to improve your soil, you may well need some compost to put in it. So making your own compost is easy. You just need a space to make a compost pile or situate a compost bin. So why is composting important? It's important for growing healthy crops, and to make your own compost, this is what you need. So you need a brown organic matter and green organic matter in a ratio of 3:1. So 3 parts brown and 1 part green. So examples of brown organic matter include wood chippings, twigs, shredded paper, and cardboard. Green organic matter are things like fruit and vegetable scraps, eggshells, grass cuttings, plant clippings. It's important to also turn your compost heap regularly to ensure the different matter is well mixed, and also this allows air to be encompassed in the compost. Air is essential to making good compost. So life within the soil. As mentioned earlier, having earthworms and microorganisms is a sign of a good, healthy soil. So what life is within a soil? Soil is home to a massive variety of life that is called biodiversity. Some creatures living in soil are so tiny that up to 1 billion of them could live in a teaspoon of soil. So if we have any teachers on this call, putting soil under a microscope is a good way to show children this. Earthworms living in soil make holes called channels. This lets air and water into the ground, and soil without earthworms with earthworms soak up 90% less water. Sorry, I just said that completely wrong. Soil without earthworms soak up 90% less water. So we need worms. And we have more details on our wormery workshop later. If you're looking for a free resource for your students and teachers, we also have our own soil spotter guide, which helps to identify which creatures are living in the soil. And if you'd like to request a copy of that, please let us know. Just drop us an email at learning, or we can pop a link on our website if anyone's interested in that. And then on to what to grow. So if you have a school garden or an allotment, here are some useful things that you can grow and use in February. So what to sow in February? It's still fairly chilly outside, so if you are going to sow things, especially outside, I would advise putting them under cloches or horticultural fleece, and I'd also do this first to warm up the soil. So sadly, seeds don't germinate in very cold temperatures, so the slightly warmer the soil, the better. So what can you sow outside under cloches? Some things to get started: broad beans, carrots, summer cabbages, onions, spinach and radish. Or if you're privy to a greenhouse or polytunnel from mid-Feb, you could definitely sow some other more exotic seeds, including tomato, some cucumbers, aubergine, peppers, peas and lettuces. And then the top tip for February is to get your seed potatoes, put them in an egg box on a windowsill, and I've actually got some behind me as well, chitting, which I'll show you at the end of the call. And if you'd like to keep updated with what we're growing each month and what you can grow in your school gardens, please follow us on our social media at the bottom of the screen. And we also have an educational newsletter as well if you want to sign up to that too. So on to what we will need. It's very, you can have like the basic things, or you can have as little or as big as you've got really. So in the sensory garden here at Sackwell, we've got raised beds. If you've got a patch of land in a field or just in your garden, then that's ample. Or if you just got a patio garden, that shouldn't stop you from growing fruit and vegetables. You can still grow things in pots or big containers, or even bags, big bags. So potatoes grow in big grow bags, as do tomatoes, cucumbers, courgettes, etc. And then useful growing equipment. So on the left hand side here is a picture of our greenhouse that we have in the sensory garden. Very nice, very nice. I wish I had one of these in my house. And then on the right hand side, I've got an alternative like budget greenhouse, which is just recycled plastic bottles. So if you've got a community garden or a school garden, it's something that everyone can get involved with. Recycle their plastic bottles and thread them onto a pole to make like an insulation wall. Then also other useful things, so as we mentioned earlier, compost, if you want to make your own compost, which is really easy to do. We've got a built-in one here which has removable slats. I highly advise making sure the slats are removable, because when you need to get the compost out once it's decomposed, it's very difficult not to. Or if you're looking for like a budget-friendly option, just pallets. If you can get yourself some free pallets and just form them in a structure like the one on the right hand side, doesn't have to be that big, and then yeah, just put all your decomposing matter in that, but remember 3 parts to 1. Other useful things, so seed trays. Seed trays can be used time and time again, and just be cleaned after once they've been used. However, if you don't have any seed trays to hand, toilet tubes can be great. Just cut slits in the bottom and fold them up, and then you can fill them with compost. Or you can make newspaper plant pots as well, or even jam jars. All sorts of different mediums can be used. Like you can use recycled things, you don't have to buy things new, which is great. And I highly advise growing a board bean in a glass jar with some wet tissue, and it's great to show children as it sprouts, and you can see the roots forming if it's on the side of a jar, which is really nice. Useful growing equipment. So other useful things, cloches are really useful in winter for keeping the plants and the soil warm. So most have little vents at the top, so you can aerate them in the day and then close them at night to stop the seedlings getting too cold. They're also good in the spring and summer to stop snails and slugs decimating everything, and give them the best chance of establishing into a plant before they start nibbling them. Other things, so watering can, compost, trowel, fork, all the essentials really, which are useful for growing fruit and vegetables and even flowers. And then on to farming with nature. So as I said at the beginning, we're not just a visitor attraction, we welcome school groups throughout the year. Our education team have just launched a new education programme, Farming with Nature. and these are the 6 interlinking topics that it covers. So we've got 18 new workshops over 6 topics: soil, plants, pollination, field to fork, farm animals, wildlife, and all these workshops have been carefully designed to link with the national curriculum. They're currently aimed at our early year foundation school groups, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, but we're expanding that offering into Key Stage 3 and beyond. And if you'd like a copy of our brochure with what workshops we've got in, you can drop us an email, or yeah, we can send out the link to any attendees. And finally, I mentioned our sensory garden earlier. So to complement our educational offering, last year the William Scott Abbott Trust designed and built a brand new sensory garden. And so the garden was carefully designed to be accessible for school students and SEN students. Many of our Farming with Nature workshops utilise this space as well. So a workshop that involves identifying what fruit and vegetable plants are growing, as many children are used to seeing things produced in packets from a supermarket. So that one is what's growing in the garden. And that also ends with an opportunity for people to sow their own seeds to take away as well. And then we've also got seasonal fruit and veg. This workshop involves pupils harvesting fresh produce. It gives them a chance to wash, prepare and taste the fresh fruit and vegetables within the workshop as well. They get to learn why eating seasonal, local produced food, why it's environmentally friendly and better for our health. And then finally, has anyone got any questions? And I'll show you my chicken potatoes if anyone's interested.
Thank you so much for that, Jenny. That was great. Some really useful advice and information in there for schools who are maybe struggling to grow things in their school allotment and gardening areas, or are just starting out on their journey in doing so. So we talk to schools all the time that ask us lots of questions about trying to grow things, and I'm not the most green-fingered person, so I thought this was going to be a really good one for our schools to engage with.